Hello, morning. Thanks for joining me. My name's Kevin. I'm reading the letters of my late father, Jimmy Hodge, who was a journalist in the Medway area for many years. And he wrote a letter every day of the year in 1999 just to sort of reflect how things were going just before we entered the millennium in 2000. We're on day 5th of February today, and Jimmy covered a couple of things. One was about an author called Beryl Bainbridge, which is a name I do recognise and remember. Pretty sure she's probably no longer with us. He revised some info about a Russian satellite, or they were going to try and put a big mirror in space. Then a little bit about people who were in the Gulf War and needing medical attention. So kicking off then, Beryl Bainbridge apparently was put down as author of the year today, and she was cited as or the commentators were saying it was a consolation prize because she'd been nominated 5 times. And Jimmy said, well, he's written 8 books and he doesn't go around moaning that he's not actually won the Booker Prize. But I suppose it's whether popular opinion believes that someone should win it and doesn't, I guess. So Beryl Bainbridge, not sure you're still with us, but hope you went on to do many great things in the authory world, I guess. Russia, apparently Dad was saying it was very unlikely that Russia were going to put some big mirror in space to shine light in Siberia. Well, apparently it was true. The only downside is that the Russians couldn't actually unfurl it, and could the mirror remain tightly shut? But apparently, it did actually exist now in 2025. I just wonder if that's likely to be the case today. Local man was telling the paper about his suffering in the Gulf War syndrome, and in fact the MOD rather unhelpfully saying there's no such thing as the syndrome. Now PTSD, I think now probably 6 years later, is definitely recognised as quite a severe condition for some people, but not all. But of course, Jimmy, as always, was saying in the Second World War, young kids, 18-year-olds were sent off to war all around the world, got into all sorts of conflicts, and on the whole just had to put up with it and came back and told to get on with it. And if you don't like a joke, you shouldn't have joined up, was his parting phrase. And his time in the Royal Marines, clearly a couple of years there, he saw some action. And I think he actually himself did suffer a little bit with that post sort of traumatic syndrome, and I think it was a bit unheard of and not treated perhaps in the best way. Caused some anxiety for Jimmy, I think, at times post-war, post-service, but I think he hid it quite well, to be honest. Finally, he said, would you believe that scientists have been looking at the great old British chip, and they've now developed a very dry, nice chip that will not get soggy or bent. And of course, Jimmy said, well, as soon as you go and buy a packet of chips from the chippy, you pour lots of vinegar on it, and before long they all got saggy and bent and pretty soggy. Yes, so what's the point, I think, was his point. So anyway, not too much today, but that was the 5th of February 1999, and it was Groundhog Day a little while ago. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Groundhog Day. I think it was the 3rd or 4th of Feb, held every year in Punxsutawney in the USA. Cobbler's Knob, I think they call it, or Hobbler's Knob, or one of those variations, when Phil comes out and predicts the weather for the next 6 weeks. So if you're familiar with the film, one of my favourites, I keep watching it. And there's the irony, isn't it? Anyway, Groundhog Day. Anyway, take care. Thanks for watching, and there you go.